What role did the non-aligned movement play in Latin America's undiplomacy during the Cold War? Imagine a world divided into two superpowers, each trying to pull Latin American countries into their orbit. Instead of choosing sides, many nations in Latin America looked for a different path. During the Cold War, the non-aligned movement became a key platform for these countries to stand on their own. It was a way to speak up at the United Nations without being caught in the rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union. Latin American countries used this movement to push for their own interests, like sovereignty and economic independence. They wanted to avoid becoming pawns in a global game of power. The non-aligned movement was created to support developing nations fighting against imperialism and foreign domination. For Latin America, it was a chance to unite around common goals like peaceful coexistence and decolonization. Countries like Brazil played an active role early on. In the 1960s, Brazil's leaders sought to build ties with socialist and newly independent countries through the non-aligned movement. They wanted a third way that was neither aligned with the United States nor the Soviet Union. But internal politics and external pressures sometimes limited this unity. For example, Brazil's military coup in 1960 shifted the country closer to United States interests. Meanwhile, Cuba's Fidel Castro openly aligned with the Soviet Union, which complicated regional solidarity. At the United Nations, Latin American members of the non-aligned movement focused on issues like anti-colonialism and economic sovereignty. They emphasized respect for borders and opposed foreign intervention, echoing Latin America's history of colonialism. The movement gave Latin America a collective voice to challenge superpower dominance. It helped them push resolutions on disarmament, development, and human rights that aligned with their regional priorities. The non-aligned movement also created bonds with other countries in the global south, strengthening their influence in international forums. Overall, it allowed Latin American nations to conduct their diplomacy with more independence. They could stand up for their cultural values and regional interests without being forced to pick sides. This approach reflected Latin America's deep-rooted ideas of sovereignty, non-intervention, and solidarity with other post-colonial nations. The movement helped Latin America shape its role in the United Nations during the Cold War, giving them a voice that was more about regional unity and less about global rivalry.